Hey everyone, this is Arctus bringing to you another one of these speed drawing videos. This was something that I did a while back like my other stuff, but this drawing in particular is actually pretty decent and still looks somewhat good today. Now, if my voice sounds a little bit different in the video, it's just because of the pollen where I live. I'm kind of allergic, so my nose gets super stuffy easily. It's kind of annoying, but at least I feel alright after cleaning up all that stuff in there, but yeah. Might as well talk about what I've been doing a little bit with these videos. And before I get started with this video, you might notice that the way I show my videos is a little bit different. You guys can only see the drawing itself as opposed to the full HUD of Paint Tool Sai. There's so many things inside that you get to see, such as the color wheel and the swatches, the various tools and layers. So I just decided to cut it all out so you guys only need to worry about the good stuff. To be honest, I don't know if this is something I should make a thing. So I'd like to hear your opinions on if I should keep it this way or go back to the normal Sai HUD. I won't ever be doing this for spriting though, since you basically see the full work area without much clutter anyways, so no changing that. Anyways, back to what I was going to talk about. So you might have noticed that the last video's drawings were super old, and yeah, I had a lot of data being eaten away by those older files. Back when I made them, I hadn't felt like making videos on drawings in general, so they've just kind of been sitting there, collecting dust. I just kind of recorded them in case I had this spark where I wanted to actually make drawing videos. And this is where I am today. Anyways, I take a look at the data to see that I have like a lot of data taken up by these drawings. So I went in and made a video. That was last week's video, by the way. And to be honest, there wasn't much effort put into that video as I do narrated videos. To be honest, I'm not sure if I'm really proud of that video. There wasn't as much effort put into that video as there was other videos. For instance, narration. I hadn't really narrated that video, mainly because A, there wasn't really much to narrate because it was kinda old and it would be redundant just to talk about old stuff. And B, it was like, what, 20 minutes long or something? So I am not gonna have the patience nor the mouth to put up with that. My mouth has got the dry skin ability, so I'm not even gonna last a few seconds. It's hard enough to do videos as it is because I have to keep doing retakes and my mouth always gets dry. It's really annoying. But to be honest, I do love doing narrations like this, so this is why I'm doing a narration right now. It may be a lot of effort to record something like this, but you know, it is worth it in the end. I just didn't see it would pay off in the end with the other video because everything was so old. Why would I waste my time narrating old stuff? I mean, I guess you could be arguing that this is kind of old, but I still like this drawing in general, so there's my justification for it. Anyways, onto the actual drawing itself. Kinda obvious by now, but I made this picture based on the mountains, with some soon-to-be grass up in the nice little house on the hillside. This is just a background thing for Pokemon Nation, which to be honest, I don't do as much Pokemon Nation as I used to. But it was still a cool little add-on for references. You might have seen it in some of my other videos, that cool little background behind some of the Pokemon. Yeah, that's the one right there. I guess the reason why I chose to do a mountainous scene was just because A, I hadn't really perfected grass at the time and more leafy scenes yet, so I didn't want to screw this one up with something that I lacked skills on, and B, I just like the idea of some nice little scene up in the mountains. It's nice and homely, but it's still got this grand feel to it just because of the size of the mountains and everything. Anyways, onto how I actually made this drawing. Seeing as there were layers upon layers of mountains, as you could probably see in the video, I tried to stay more organized with my work. I had layers and folders while drawing with Sai. Well, you can't see it since I'm only showing the drawing and not the actual program like I used to, but it's still organized, trust me. It helped me find out where everything was as it worked. However, as you can probably tell, there were a lot of mishaps, and so I would go into the wrong folder or the wrong file and then shade some weird parts. Speaking of shading, that was also kind of difficult, as I had to do a lot of work to make sure that the shading wouldn't go off the mountain and affect the sky or something like that. That was probably my biggest challenge with this drawing, mainly because the way that the shading might go off a part of the drawing, it would end up shading some other part that I didn't want it to. If you look really closely at this drawing, like if you see where one part of the drawing meets another, like if a mountain meets, the house or whatever, you might notice that there's this sort of dark line in between there. It's very cluttered and very unnecessary, and it was just something that I had a hard time working around in general. The sky was alright here. There wasn't much to their creation. I had always been pretty good with shading clouds in general, so that was pretty easy. The sunset was an interesting thought though. Most of my pictures at the time had been in the day, so to have a sunset here so close to night, it was mainly just to give off a very sort of beautiful vibe to it. Surprisingly, it can be somewhat difficult to create the colors for a sunset. The kind of yellows and blues that have to go in and how they blend can be very tricky, but after playing around for it, it worked out pretty well in my opinion. Very beautiful. Despite being easier, mountains are still hard to draw in the long run, and it took a while just to figure out even how to begin shading them in the first place. I'm happy with what I came up with, even though it looks a little bit cartoonish, but at least it looks pretty decent. I did add a bit of the airbrush over everything just to give it an even more of a darker feeling to it, at least. There's not much to say about these mountains themselves, besides that it took a while, so yeah. Anyway, so this will be where we wrap up this video, as the footage is closing out. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you guys for new videos in the future. And by new videos, I mean actually recorded in this year. I can't wait to see you guys. Stay frosty.